The whole Liam Kumar Day effect. Not really happening.
Nigel couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I rang up Mendenhall and he said he could make it.
Don't dig this hole. Phil, credit to the guy, always manages to do well what he has, but he is a shocking personality. You guys got a trophy? No.
It was pre-Viv.
No, my life from Rashad Mendenhall.
Right, you go. I'm a tag, Jack! I'm a fucking tag!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the LOC Report. We are back again after a brief illness-related hiatus, courtesy of myself. But I am pretty much completely better now, and Chris is, glad to hear, has been right as rain all the way through. How's it going, Chris?
Absolutely brilliant. It's, I'm okay. My season isn't going very well, which we're about to discover.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a sec.
But... but yeah, other than that, me and my light beam look at see the side of this. It feels like there's a solid object. There isn't. It's just it's a complete illusion. I don't know why it's there, but it is. So me and the illusion will just have to just stay. For all of you who are listening, without being able to see us, then nothing changes. Thankfully, nothing changes at all. But yes, you can hear my anguished cry of what did I have to do to deserve this later on.
Yeah, and maybe if Chris wasn't so distracted by emanating light streaks within his house, he would be it would be lending itself more towards his fantasy performance. But there we go. No, it has not all been Chris's fault, the fantasy season so far. Absolutely not, in fact. But we'll get all to that into that in a second. Yeah, obviously we've missed a few weeks, so just kind of as a brief catch up, I suppose, as to where we are. We're kind of seeing a bit of a dichotomy developing, in the sense that we've definitely got some top end teams. Certainly over the last few weeks, more emerging, and then some obviously stragglers behind. It's still fairly close, but last week, we'll see when we get into the recaps in a second, did start to widen the gaps a little bit. So without further ado, let's get into the recaps. So here we go. Here's the recap jingle. So on the whole, though, week 8 was pretty good scoring-wise, because no buys last week after there'd been a pretty heavy dosage of buys. This week, don't get used to it. Last week, don't get used to it though, because the buys are very much back this week. Obviously, we didn't do any previews for last week's games. However, I've picked a game that I presumably guessed we would pick as the marquee matchup, which was Bedetonators entering as the Winchester Division leader at 5. And 2 against the Dream Team, who were vying for the division lead in the Portsmouth division. The game did live up to a billing, and we're getting some of the jingles out nice and early, Chris, because Bedetonators, they walked right on into the box score in this one, 139-92 in favour of the Dream Team, with the week's highest score. Flashy Dream Team turns up again, really, isn't it, Chris? And I think what really punctuates this, because we know we're going to get boom performances from Herbert and Hill and ETN and Hall, but it was Lamb and McLaurin really that kind of capitalised this really high weekly score. Yeah,
absolutely. And the Cowboys, say we want the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are pretty legit, both sides of the ball at the moment. And they've taken a while to warm up, so yeah, CeeDee Lamb is the man there.
Yeah,
certainly the man. There's no one else they're throwing to. He is just the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So yes, but I say, as we like to see, your skill positions all scoring double digits. Absolutely brilliant. Who cares about the kicker and D? Double digit 12 points. But yeah, a really nice stat line for Viv there. 138 points is one of our highest points to the scores of the season. Great time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, a really seemingly well balanced team. Whilst 91 on the other side, hey, that's not too bad for Ollie. He's been up and down. We've seen a lot of injuries in this team.
It's a good score by Zombie FC. Absolutely,
absolutely. So Jalen Hurts there, 35 points, big score. Not that many other things to shout about. Obviously, DeAndre Swift has been a pretty consistent. I'll say consistent performer. He's been a surprising performer throughout the course of this year. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You can't counter the quality on the other side. And,
No.
Yeah, they've taken the win by a big margin.
Even the bench did well. Gabe Davis, as we both commented on, banished the Shadow Realm again. Yeah.
Justice to Gabe Davis this season in most people's teams.
Indeed. Yeah, like you said, that there is definitely still optimism from Ollie's team. I think that's 2 on the trot he's dropped now. He played me the week before and I won that one, but the team's still been pretty solid, and you can look to the bench as well. Some guys not quite firing there, but he's got some options on the bench, so... And despite being having every limb chopped off possible, yeah, he's still rolling on. But with that loss, it does open the opportunity for Gridiron Gang to take the lead in the division for the first time this season. And I was facing you this week, Chris. Gutted I was ill and we couldn't preview the podcast bowl together, but at least we can recap the podcast bowl together in the Founder Bowl. Here it is again. The buzz.
Into that buzzsaw, which I'm not too sad about, to be honest. I have to say, if I'm going to lose, I might as well lose big.
Yeah, no, and your team wasn't too bad on the whole, especially considering you lost your quarterback to injury partway through. You had a donut from Miles Sanders and Damian Pierce. That Kirk Cousins Achilles injury, pretty brutal for everything all around. That's your second injured quarterback for the season as well, I believe, Chris.
Absolutely, yeah. I had one stud that got injured, and Kirk Cousins, who went down with a thud.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's good commentary. Yeah, yeah, Miles Sanders was an interesting choice. Though I mean, bench points has been the narrative of your season. I'm sorry to say, Chris, it wouldn't have changed the result though. To be fair, but it was also the case again here. But the Miles Sanders play was an interesting one from my perspective. I'll let you speak on it, being the man that made the decision.
I think Miles Sanders sucks.
Why did you play him then?
I played him because, you know what, I thought there's going to be a touchdown in this game. He's going to sneak one. He's going to be a little pikey and get there. He'd be like, 2-yard rushing TD. Oh, how wrong I was. But look, I had a pretty underwhelming bench. I know I picked Kendrick Bourne up and I was going to play him.
Who also got injured, by the way, for the year.
He did.
That's a bit gutting.
He's dead as well, so he's out for the season. So it seems to be like getting another narrative, just like it's ACL injury after Achilles injury after shoulder injury after just season-ending horror shows. Tyler Lockett, who knows what you're going to get out of him. In this instance, you actually got quite a good game out of him, though they played the Browns, which again you wouldn't expect either, because they're pretty legit. But is what it is. So I don't care that I lost this game because I couldn't have won it in the first place. Yeah, I could have scored 90 points, and I could have been a morale booster, but it wouldn't make a difference really. Your side, you did all right there. I got to say, Josh Allen and Christian McCaffrey again.
McCaffrey's a god, unreal. Tied the NFL record for consecutive games with a touchdown. Just crazy.
Dude's a crazy guy. Yeah. That's it. He just what a guy. I mean, they couldn't win the game, but at least he did well. And Jalen Waddle turning up for his sort of complimentary game over here and there. So a very big game for him. Decent on kicker and D is what I have to say. The Jets absolutely kicked the living shit out of the Giants.
That was the worst game, possibly one of the worst games I've ever watched. Can I say?
It was absolutely grim.
Our fantasy game was better than that.
Absolutely. I would say that. Even coming up, even Pat and Ben's game was better than that. And you'll see why later.
Bold statement. Well, we'll move on so we can get to that tease then. The next game, though, was the NFC South Bowl, let's call it, but bucking the trend against Tom's Tyrants to NFC South supporting teams. And he's done it, Chris! I don't have a jingle prepared.
Finally.
But he's done it. Screw it. We'll just play this one. Here we go. It's the lot. He's done it. He's got the win, bucking the trend. Mike gets his first win of the season, 1-7 now, 114-65. I mean, to be fair, Mike's team has been good enough to win probably at least more than one game to this point.
Absolutely.
But just fully so got it this week. With a good score, 114. And yeah, I mean, it is a good team. You look down the lineup, I mean, nearly all the skill positions are, if you round KJ Osborne up, they're all in double digits. So, yeah, solid. And now that he's healthy, can Mike actually take some momentum out of this?
I think so. This team's been really good. And, like, under the radar has been all right because it just keeps getting scored on. Now, if it wasn't getting scored on, he'd be absolutely in the same position as some other teams.
Yeah.
But to score 114 points, your team's got to be pretty good. And there's some components in there that are good. And Hopkins was on the bench.
Yeah.
And Hopkins was on the bench.
And we can't blame him for that because Will Levis in his first start against a fairly robust Falcons D. Yeah. I had to look through his lineup on the day and be like, oh my god, it's on the bench, that's lol. And then I looked, I was like, you know what, actually fair enough. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have done that either.
Hey, look, I'm not gonna beat him up over 114 point win, and you know we know with the Titans, and we saw last night what happened to Will Levis. He went back from being Cinderella to a goose. That isn't the story, by the way, but I'm just making it up. And and
close
I
enough.
have to say, well, that's pretty accurate. But yeah, dream debut. But I have to say, you're right. When things are firing. There's nothing to worry about for bucking the trend. And I think they're going to pick up a few sneaky wins here and there before the end of the season. Tom's team, on the other hand,
Jekyll and Hyde he's lost all of his Mr. Hyde potions. He's just Jekyll at this point.
Oh yes, absolutely. And again, it doesn't matter whether he played Joe Barrow over Jordan Love.
It wouldn't have
Why
changed
playing
himself.
Jordan Love?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a very questionable call. Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, you're looking at the playmakers in that team and going, well, if they're touched, it's touchdown or bust really for some of those guys, and the bench isn't really that grand either. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there's some guys in there that are pretty underwhelming. Obviously, Keenan had a great start, and Cup will have better days. Thielens been underratedly decent, but just didn't come together, and again wouldn't have made a great deal of difference anyway. So
no.
But pleased for Mike finally not getting scored on winning a game.
Definitely, and I've been forgetting to do the head-to-head matchup, so we'll just catch up and deal with these. So Mike is now 4-1 all time against Tom. So we should have predicted this would be the week that he would knock Tom off. In our matchup, Chris, I now take the lead 12-11 against you. It's a close one, and then Badetne is against the Dream Team. Ollie is now 7-13 against Viv all time. So yeah, a bit of a bogey team, the Dream Team there for Badetne. Our next game then, and you know what, you can have this as well, Mike. You deserve it. It was one of those as well. And I'm going to have to get it again because the next one was the Bear Bowl, which Bear Necessities against You Are Gold. And again, there was lots of soaring around in Halloween week, dismembering of limbs and such. Yeah, 119 to 73 in favour of You Are Gold. And the King has been resurrected, Chris. And
can they do it?
Is he more powerful than before? Is my question to you. 119 points with the points repellent on the other side of the board as well. The team is looking good.
Look at this. You Are Gold loves a receiver, doesn't he? Look at this. So, yeah, Brian Addison. But
can I just say, stream of the season right here.
That's what it is. I mean, it was a long touchdown, but I mean, look at this.
Rashid Shaheed, ladies and gentlemen.
Rashid Shaheed. Who knew? Who knew? Fantasy value of the year possibly is that. You Are Gold on a roll, and in the division that they're in, I think they could go all the way to the playoffs. Certainly with the team that they have, it's nice and solid. In years gone by, quarterback's been the issue. You got Brock Purdy in there, as solid as the day is long. Receivers all over the place. Pollard's, Pollard will have better days, but he's going to be a component. But you've got some really flashy receivers in there, which you have to say is a big bonus. And I have to say, on the other side, Bear Necessity season, not going at all well. And you look at the I don't know. I don't know if it's a play. It's definitely a desperation play of Elijah Mitchell over there.
My dad forgot to change his team last week, I think, because you looked at the bench, Gus Edwards and Joe Mixon.
I was about to say this, like what's going on there?
Yeah.
It's a bit of it's a blunder. It is what it is.
Yep.
But yeah, it wouldn't have made a great deal of difference anyway. You Are Gold streaking to its victory with not one, not two, but three, but four quarterback scores last week.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah,
So,
most of them courtesy of
congratulations
receivers.
to you, our gold.
Yep, absolutely. So he moves to 6-2. Bare Necessities fall to 3-5 in the history of this matchup all time. Now Bare Necessities are 4-6 against you are gold. Moving on to the next game then, and well, we've had the buzzsaw jingle every time so far, but it's time for this one because. Pakistan, obviously, we're leading up leading up a division. Pakistan obviously struggling, and on paper, in history, you would have said this would have been one of the better games you would have seen, but no, this was not a good game. 70-57. Pakistan win it? Don't lose it? Don't know. It was really just Alvin Kamara. We're gonna keep the music going.
To Alvin Kamara.
A good draft pick, by the way. It's come dividends, but go on, Chris.
I agree. It's come out of nowhere, but at the same time, who needs a quarterback when you've got Alvin Kamara scoring 23 points? For Ben, this was nearly a very, very, very. I wouldn't say an embarrassment, but it was nearly every skill position, and your kicker, and your D in single figures, which would have been quite something. It wasn't for Austin Eckler bailing him out.
Yeah.
The very last minute there, but yes, to go down with 57 points is not necessarily ideal. Pakistan keeping on going, still in the hunt in the division and the playoff hunt, but can't afford too many like that. And we saw a few decent weeks from Zach Moss. Well, he's going into the background now a little bit. So that there's a lot of a lot of meh on that bench, shall we say? A lot of meh. But yeah, the key guys for him: DJ Moore, Kenneth Walker, obviously Kamara. Two of the three of them didn't turn up, but 70-point streaky win. That's what sometimes happens when a team goes on to the highest of the high this season, and I think Pat's team possibly has got that in it, but yeah, it's a little bit shaky at the moment. Yeah,
definitely. Better days are ahead, but yeah, this was a shaky week. And then for Ben's team, I mean, I'll be right in the power rankings. We've not had them in a few weeks. For last time around, they were in the top tier for me, or at the top position, because you look at the team on paper and it's brilliant. And at the time, he was a bit banged up, and I was making some projections about the guys he's getting back, but. For whatever reason, Mahomes just isn't clicking at the moment in that Chiefs offense. It just doesn't seem to be working right. He had the flu last week, so I'm not sure we can entirely put it all up to that. But he's not been the world-beating Mahomes that we're kind of used to seeing. Some of the shine seemingly has come off Evans and Kirk. Jones has just been injured and ineffective on that Packers offense all season long. Eckler, like you said, is the one bright spot here, but he's not even really been the first-round pick that Ben wanted him to be. Madison sucks. Getting outplayed by Cam Akers, and then there's nothing on the bench. So yeah, I don't know what to do with this Ixan team, to be honest, Chris. I think it's well, we've got a little section coming up in a bit. We can discuss that then, but yeah, it's not looking good for Ixan at the moment. So Ixan 4-4, Pakistan 6-2 with that win. And then the last game of the week, we call it the Florida Bowl because both these teams support Florida teams. Great Scott against Ross's team. And this was a close game, actually. It was the closest game on the week, and it was a fairly good scoring one as well. 109 to 99 in favour of Great Scott. And with this win, we'll see in a second, Jeff, rookie in the LOC, is now the number one seed, has a tied record, but on points at 6-2. Yeah, and 109-point week. Ross, again, a bit hard done by because he would have beaten, I think, over half the teams. Definitely over half the teams on the slate last week, but sits at 2-6 now. But Jeff has become a front runner, I think, Chris.
Well, so he should with that Russian offense there, Nath. I mean, he's been playing without a quarterback for most of the season. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been as good as he was last season, that's for sure. But when you've got Mostert, Gibbs turns up this week, so as he's been threatening to do for a while, say finally, some decent receivers in there. See, Chase is woken up from the dead, and he's round back from injury, which all helps. Plus a very buoyant kicker and defense score down there. Yeah. So all helps. So I'd like to say, I think Brandon McManus has probably kicked him to victory there. But on the other side, Ross's team of absolute average tight ends and players, plus Dak Prescott has got him across the line. I think when you consider that a third of the score is Dak Prescott's QB score, probably tells you a lot about where that team is. But it's going to be streaky. It's going to there's going to be some guys in there that are going to be punchy. Obviously, you see Kelsey Andrews kill those three best tight ends in the game. You think Jonathan Taylor's going to get better. Diggs has been great. So that team is not bad. That team is not bad.
No, absolutely not. No.
So it's going to be difficult to be. I say with putting up 99 points, can't go wrong with it. But yeah, great Scott going great guns, and it's going to be interesting to see how the second half of the season plays out. But there's some strong players in there.
Yeah.
He just needs to find himself a decent flex, but.
Yeah, because I was going to kind of pose to you. We don't really know what Gibbs is going to look like because Montgomery's obviously missed this game and the one before where Gibbs has done well. Knowing what the Lions are, I mean, they could be using Gibbs a little bit more, but it wouldn't be surprising to see them turn it back to kind of the way it was before, with Gibbs mixing in a bit more. So, yeah, as you say, the flex is still a little bit of a gap there, but otherwise a strong roster. And that is the final of the recaps then for last week. So we'll just do the old around the league stat section, which I haven't had a look at yet, but we'll see what it tells us. So, you are gold. Earned a win in week 8 despite not starting a top 30 scoring running back, and we obviously saw that with the 4 receivers, so fair enough. Yeah, didn't need it. But Detonator's beat their projected score 3 weeks in a row. Ross's team, which was called Peppa Pig last week, which was amusing, as Jeff could not lose to a team called Peppa Pig. That would have been retirement worthy, I think. He's increased his score each of the last 3 weeks, so yeah, as you say, Ross's team is alive and well. You continue to defy the pundits according to this, and you've beaten your projected score 3 weeks in a row. Great Scott, this has gone on right, a 5-game winning streak actually for Jeff, so yeah, he really is lining it up at the moment. Teams have won 50% of the time this season when they throw no interceptions in a week. Interesting stat. So coin flip though, so not really too insightful. Teams have won 40% of the time when starting the league's top scoring quarterback, 2 and 3 overall. That's kind of interesting because obviously you'd think quarterbacks typically way heavy, but clearly not so much this year. And Ixan has decreased their score over each of the past 3 weeks. So yeah, Ixan definitely heading the wrong direction there.
Dear.
Yeah, so that's your around the news section, around the league, whatever you want to call it. We will go to the actual league news now, so we'll need the So yeah, we'll start off with injuries like we always do. Kirk Cousins, you bid, I think, a hefty amount on him the week 4 to get him back, Chris, because he was still playing well despite the loss of JJ, and then he only goes and does his Achilles and is out for the rest of the season.
Wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, the life of streaming a quarterback, and not help when they keep getting injured either, because you have to keep doing it.
Nope.
No.
Nope. So that's it. Prayers for Sam Howell this week.
Well, it could be, yeah, but pass defense isn't quite as formidable as it was at the start of the season, so as long as he doesn't get sacked about 12 times, he should be able to stand up and throw a ball.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah. And double in for a penny, in for a pound for you, Chris, because yeah, Kendrick Bourne, he I think it was his ACL that he ended up tearing in the end, but again, he was a guy that strung together a nice few weeks. You got, I think, just after free agency, or you did a waiver claim on him the week before as well, but
yes.
Also now done for the year, so another hit to your team, unfortunately, there, Chris. Drake London, he's got a groin injury at the moment for Tom's Tyrants. Unclear how much time he's going to miss. Again, he kind of been a guy that kind of to settle in a bit and start producing a bit, but yeah, he's going to miss some time. Matthew Stafford has a thumb injury for Great Scott. Unclear if he'll miss any time. I think I did see he was actually questionable for this week. And this one, Chris, again, we've not really been commenting on it because we've been away, but Deshaun Watson, I don't know specifically what the issue in his shoulder is. I think it's something to do on his rotator cuff or something like that, but basically he's just being a bitch and plays for Ross's team. So yeah.
Yep.
What's the status of Deshaun Watson being a bitch and its impact on Ross's team?
I think it's a high impact on certainly on not on Ross's team, but certainly on the Cleveland Browns. It's all their fault. So that's what karma has.
Yeah, indeed, especially when you give a guy 100% guaranteed contract. They have absolutely no incentive to play through anything because they get paid either way. It's like Josh McDaniels. He's sitting pretty for 4 years now. So,
I mean, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy who goes in there, fails, and goes sit at the beach for a bit, then goes back to New England and he'll be there on. Oh my god! It's like,
fireworks! Yeah, kicking off in
hell. I tell you what, I was like Hiroshima right there. Fuck me.
And that's the sound of Forge Flyers Fantasy season going
That
up in
is
flames.
that was long gone. That was long gone.
No, I just.
That's the jingle. That's what it should be. That was Kirk Cousins' ACL.
Fiery. Oh yes, yeah, that could be heard. Yeah, from as far as Kentucky, I hear that Achilles rippling up the calf. Yeah. So that's it for the injuries. Chris might need to hunker down for a second here while we go through the rest. So transactions wise, so this one snuck in before waivers, just at the end of the week, because this guy was added to an NFL team, and before the site updated, I tactfully added Leonard Fournette. While he was still a free agent on Monday night. What do you make of the Leonard Fournette edition, Chris?
I think he might need to go and get a Chick-fil-A. He's going to get himself fit before he starts games.
Yeah, he's been on the Eddie Lacy diet by the looks of it, for sure.
Because he's a fat bastard now.
Yeah, but that's what we like on the goal line, because 84-year-old Latavius Murray isn't shuffling into the end zone, so maybe Leonard Fournette we'll see.
He's flopping there, man.
Hopefully. James Cook sure hasn't been.
He sure hasn't.
No. For you, Chris, Jordan, you added Kyler Murray here for Kendrick Bourne. Obviously, Kyler Bourne injured. Kyler Murray coming off the PUP at some point. Unclear if he'll play this weekend, but very soon. $15 is what you spent for that, Chris. So, yeah, he could obviously be the QB savior you need.
Indeed. It's like the fucking Gaza Strip. Jesus. Yeah. Yes, Kyler Murray's back. I vowed not to take him back, but after 3 quarterbacks this season, I thought I'd go for an injured one that might get better rather than one that might get injured.
There's still time. Yeah. He could re-injure his ACL. You never know.
He probably will. But I thought, you know what, he's there. Let's take a little punt. And the Cardinals haven't been that terrible, so
no.
Let's see if he can make them worse or better. I mean, you know, he might get used in the correct way now that Jonathan Gannon, as weird as he is, is putting a functional team together rather than Cliff, who wasn't.
Yeah, no, indeed, yeah.
Nice house, poor offense.
And the offensive coordinator, like you say, has been calling pretty good games and stuff. Certainly with what he's had at his disposal. James Conner will be back soon as well, which helped them out. So yeah, no, I thought it was a worthy ad. Ixan, they add Jahan Dotson for $17. I don't know where it is on this list. There it is. Dropping Dallas Goedert. Jahan Dotson has obviously been quite a bust. You can't see the targets on here, but targets had gone up over the last couple of weeks, and against Philadelphia he did have that good game last week. What do you make of this one, Chris?
I think Ben looked at how many points he scored last week and went, let's put $1 on each point.
That's good deduction. I'd like, if Ben, if you listen to the show, please let us know if that was your logic on the $17 bid. I think actually I can bring up on the app the waiver report, because I had I think a $0 or a low dollar bid on him as well. So we'll see what else happened there. But it is interesting to note Curtis Samuel has missed, I think, the last game, maybe the last couple. So how much has that played into his emergence a bit? Seemingly they have wanted to get him a bit more involved, but that no doubt has helped as well. Badetna is bid 3, and obviously the only other one with a $0 bid. So yeah, Ben did overspend maybe just a smidge there. And I think I've got some other couple of ones here. Let's see. You know what time it is. I just noted this one down for the lols. It's Taysom time, everybody. Taysom Hill has been added to my team. So.
Are you just going for like the comedy players this week? You just get we're going to pick Leonard Fournette and Taysom Hill up because, you know, that's a good idea.
Quite possibly, we'll see.
That's a great idea. You know what? That's a. I think I should pick these dudes out. They're going to do something for me.
It's by Mageddon. There's not a lot of options out there. It's, to be fair, the Fournette one's more perspective. He's like a stash. I just want to kind of see what's going on. But Taysom's been pretty good last few weeks. Yes, look.
Fucking hell.
Yeah! See?
It wasn't very good before that, though.
No, but they've been using him differently since, I think it was about week 6 where they started to utilise. Yeah, when Juwan Johnson got down, they actually started using him as a tight end, bizarrely. And since then he's been a bit more involved, and they've kind of discovered, like, he's pretty good around the goal line. We should probably use him. So, and they're playing the Bears this week, so that was kind of...
I wish you all the best.
I may not play him.
All I can say is Taysom Hill is an absolute dice roll. He can score 25
Yep.
points or 2.5 points
Yep.
or less, and you don't know what you're going to get.
No.
But fair enough. To all those that are bold enough to play him, I salute you.
If you play in a league that forces you to start a tight end, he's probably actually. I
get it at that point. I get it at that point, and that's fine. Like I think if you had in a league that forced you to play a tight end, you probably would pick him as a genuine starter. But for us.
Well,
yeah.
We'll come on to the preview and you'll see why I have Taysom Hill on my team in a minute. Anyway, we're going to standing stats and milestones. So we'll start off with the milestones and everything. So we'll go on to this one. So Coach Burdett, and obviously some of these would have happened not only in the last week, but the last few weeks we missed. Coach Burdett notched his 100th regular season loss. Congratulations for that. Viv enters the 100 career wins club. That one is more of an achievement, so congrats to you there, Viv. Chris, you entered the 100 career loss club, I think, over the last few weeks as well.
Yes, I did.
And Tom entered the 100 regular season win club. He got his 100 regular season wins, so a few nice little milestones there. Going through the standings and everything, so let's go back to this. So looking at the Southampton division, it's a hot race at the top. 2 6-2 teams, 2 of the 3 6-2 teams, I should say. In Pakistan, you goal. Pakistan leading up by 8 points, a mere 8 points. So this division is really spicy at the top. Then we have Torben's Tyrants and Forge Flyers at 3-5 and 2-6 respectively. So one would think the gap is probably a little bit too big there for the division and potentially the wildcard now as well, as the wildcard is also standing at 6-2, obviously with 2 6-2 teams in the same division. Portsmouth division, Great Scott is at 6-2, leading that up, followed by the Dream Team at 5-3. Then we have Ixan at 4-4 and Ben Assist is at 3-5. So nice of them to all have one win less than each other for that nice logical pattern there. And then in the Winchester division, this has a new leader. Actually, I think the leaders were the same in the division. But yeah, Winchester division, Gridiron Gang now tops this up at 5-3. Badena is also 5-3, but Gridiron Gang is the league's highest scoring team at the moment with nearly 100 points more than Badena is actually. And then there is a lot of disparity in this division as well, with Ross's team at 2-6. And then obviously backing the trend, getting the first win of the season last week, now at 1-7. Looking at the overall, so playoff picture as it stands today, Great Scott, Pakistan and Gridiron Gang would make playoffs by way of division lead. UR Gold would be the traditional wildcard team, and Viv would be the points forward wildcard team. Looking at high scoring points, there are 2 teams over 800 points at the moment. That is myself with 872 and the Dream Team with 842. Then there is a couple of teams in the higher echelons of the 700 point mark. Then we have a couple in the mid 700 point mark, you can see there, and then we have all the 600 point teams there at the bottom. So yeah, there is a couple that are kind of, or a few that are leading up more so than others. And no real surprises either way on this side. I think all of the winning record teams, unsurprisingly, in the top half of this table, all the losing record teams in the bottom half. It doesn't always work out that way though. So interesting. It's kind of worked that way. And if we put it the other way around though, points against. So it is much more of a mixed bag. So as you kind of said, Chris, Mike's team has had the bucket of points dropped on him this season because a bukkake of points, if you will, 831 points against, the only team to concede more than 800 points so far this season. So understandable why he's 1-7. Well, am I wrong with that description? It is accurate. Followed not too.
No, you aren't actually. That's quite good.
Ross's team not too far off, but still a solid 35 points behind with 796 points, and he's obviously 2-6. But yeah, both these teams scored less than 700. My team, however, in third with the highest points against, so just as well I'm the highest scoring team because I've had a fair amount dropped on me as well, as has Ollie 761. You, Chris, you've had a quite rough go of it as well with 759. Then we get to the bottom half of this table, and yeah, again, unsurprising to see the bottom third of the table here either has a winning record or at parity. Three of them all under 700 points, and you can see your Golden Pakistan closer to 600 than even 700. So yeah, fortune has definitely favoured them and their 6-2 records in that regard. Looking at the breakdown, my team is at the top of this metric, 67-21 through the season so far. You can see over the last 6 weeks has had a pretty good go of it. But Adelaide Dream Team in tied second with 56-32. Sorry, Great Scott has obviously had that 5-game winning streak that we saw, 51-37. So they're doing quite well there as well. Certainly over the last 4, in fact, if you throw out that week there, over the last 6 weeks, they've been really good too. Again, some good teams here. The 6-2 teams, both of them here together, they've only really around 500 between them. So yeah, they have had a bit of fortune in terms of the record. And then again, not too much surprise with the teams that are on the bottom part of this. Is you are tied bottom with Ross, Chris at 31-57 there.
This could spell the retirement of me at this point. I mean, why on earth would you listen to me on this podcast when you can see that I clearly absolutely suck?
To be fair to you, Chris, you've had some pretty good years, but yeah, this one is.
This is not vintage, mate. This is not good.
No. Lastly, we've got the coach score. I'm still at the top of the metric in this one. 63 points through the season. Ross at 77. It's a fairly even spread, though. I don't think anyone's doing particularly amazing with coach score. There are a few teams doing particularly poor, though, I hate to say, Chris. 172 points through 8 weeks. That's over 20 points a week on the bench. So the points have been there for your team. But yeah, not always in the starting lineup, unfortunately.
No, it's absolutely right. It's been a complete disaster.
But great Scott here is the surprising one, because at 6-2, one of the highest scoring teams, yet 149 points left on the bone.
One player only, though, isn't it?
Devon Achan is the majority of
good old Achan,
in those few weeks. Yeah, indeed. I think there was a crazy stat that Devon Achan has outscored. Is it like Rashad White and Brian Robinson, I think, and stuff like that? And obviously those guys haven't missed a game, whereas Devon Achan missed week 1, I think, eased in, and then has missed the last few weeks. It's pretty crazy.
Just unbelievable, is all I can say. It's just, I mean, what a pickup. But then again, burned bright, and now he's dead. Yeah. So, it was good while it lasted. I
think he'll be back off of IR next week, I believe, and he's obviously got Mostert as well. So we'll see what happens.
It's such a double-headed monster that it's scary. Yeah, scary.
It
is.
It is. So that's the standing stats and milestones. In terms of trade block, no one on the block, but just a reminder: the trade deadline is this time next week, basically Thursday, 10th of November is the trade deadline in the LOC. Obviously, the NFL deadline has passed. Check out the power rankings when they land. I will write these over some point this weekend, as Tom's a little busy at the moment, so I'll cover them again for the next few weeks. We will go on to Debate Corner then, and in order to do that, we need John Burkow, of course. John, can you please usher us?
Order.
Thank you, John. John is trying to present to Rishi that the populace of the country has had stealth tax cuts by the tax threshold not increasing with the increased wages in light of the inflationary increases that have happened. He's trying to fight the good fight, Chris.
What a guy.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Man of the people.
Yeah.
Wish he'd done that while he was in Parliament.
He was too busy shouting order. So the topic for this week, it's one that we look forward to every year, of course, and it's not strictly a Debate Corner topic, but it's Debate Corner. You know what's coming, Chris, don't you?
I know what's coming.
You know what's coming.
I'm ready.
Because it's time to stick a fork in them. They're done. It's here. We're going into week 9. We're over halfway through the season now. We've got enough evidence for some teams that we can stick the fork in them and say their season is over. Let's start off in the Southampton division. Chris, we'll go through them one by one. Pakistan, your goal. They are not done. No fork, no cutlery for them. Tom Sirens, can we put the fork in them? 3 and 5.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, points wise, over 200 points behind the highest scoring team, and obviously the ones behind that. So yeah, Tom Sirens, do you have a fork in you? Forge Flyers, Chris, do you want to stick the fork in?
Absolutely. Yeah. There were forks from week 3. When Anthony Richardson went down, it was time to fork the team. Forks they are. I'm done. And I may, you know what? If I lose this week, I may drop everybody and just play a team of waiver pickers every week and have fun with it. because who fucking cares at this point?
I would be interested to see. There will be players on your team. Some people would add, but how many players on your team would actually be added?
I would not drop. By the way, I would not drop Derrick Henry.
No.
And I would probably
Lockett. You wouldn't drop Mondre. Probably keep Mondre. Everyone else there. Maybe Ridley too.
Everybody else can go. Maybe Brandon Ayuk. He can stay, and Kyler can stay on PUP and in the reserve spot because But everybody else can fucking leave the team. Get out of here. I know the Cowboys D. All of them can stay. Every single one of them. In fact, they can play offense as well.
They basically have been. I mean, they are your highest. Are they your highest scoring player outside of quarterback?
Probably.
They are.
Probably. They've been a great pickup. Everybody else has sucked ass.
Yeah. Yeah, but I appreciate you're taking except Derek. Yeah, I appreciate you're taking the continuity of the league at heart with some certain guys. But yeah, there's definitely some guys that arguably could be dropped there.
Yeah, that's right. We're just gonna do it. I think that would make the second half of the season much more fun. Let's just see who turns up every week.
See, this is why I've got Taysom Hill, because it's fun. Okay.
No expectations. Your problem is though, that's that you're ruining my fun by taking Taysom Hill and being top of the league.
Well, the trade deadline is next week, so we've got time if you want to acquire Taysom.
I tell you what, you can have my entire team for him.
Done.
They all suck.
We'll message after. There we go. Back to the forking. So that's it for the standard division. Half of those have been forked. Positive division. Great Scott Dream Team obviously not being forked. Where they are. Ixan. That's we'll come back to Ixan. We'll go to Ben and
Next
Sessy's.
week I might fork him. Next week.
Oh, Ixan is alive for another week. Then you're saying.
Yeah. Ixan's alive and well. For as long as Mahomes is there and he's functional and has two legs and two arms and someone people to throw to, they're functional.
Yeah. I mean. Where are we now? So going into week 9, we have, is that 6 games remaining? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 6 games remaining. He's 2 games back in division and the wildcard race. Obviously doesn't have the benefit of points, so you kind of need to factor that in. But no, I agree. Probably a little too soon to stick the fork in. Ben Necessities at 3 and 5, though, with a similar level of points. What do you reckon on Ben Necessities?
I think in that division it's open. I think Ben Necessities have a better team than they say. They've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah. As long as my dad
give
changes
another week.
his team.
If they lose again, Great Scott, the Dream Team win. Probably time to fork them, to be honest.
Yeah. The fork is circling. You're absolutely not wrong. Winchester Division, Gridiron Gang, they're obviously not being forked. But Detonators, they're very much in the hunt as well at 5 and 3, despite being the Zombie FC team of the LOC. Ross's team at 2 and 6 has shown a bit of spunk, but 6-8-5-8 points forward. 4 games behind in the wildcard and 3 games behind in the division. Can we fork Ross, do you think? Chris?
I think so. And I think by the end of the season he should just drop 160 on somebody just for a laugh.
That would be the most Ross thing to do, and we all know what will happen.
I just want it to happen. It'll break the record for the highest waiver budget by ever. So let's do it.
Oh, you mean sorry? Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry, yeah.
just because if they're going to do anything, let's just do that. And then we come to Buck and the Trend, who since probably week 2 have been forked. So and. The score against them has been forking terrible, so we're going to fork them. Well, hey.
Yep, there you go.
Have that.
So, Mike, fresh off your first ring, congrats, have a fork.
Congratulations. Mike, if all I can say is, if you get to 500 or at least around it, that is a result, mate.
Yeah.
That is a result. If you can get if you can get to like 5 and 7, or however much it is, I don't know, what is it going to be by the end of the season, 6 and 8? Like that.
That'd be a good second half. Yeah. I mean, the only hope Mike has at this point would be the points forward wild card, and realistically, it's out. Yeah.
It's out. I mean, it's not entirely out. You never know. Crazy things.
That's the fun part of the points forward wild card.
I'm forking them now. I just can't see it's a long way back.
No, true. So that's a third of the league forked. There's another 2 that are circling the plate, shall we call it? So, as I said, week 8 was kind of pivotal for some teams, whether they stayed alive or not. That ends the Bake Corner then. So we will go on to the week 9 previews. On the docket this week, we go back into divisional matchups. So we have Gridiron Gang against Thomas and Friends, which is Ross's current team, founded Bowl and AFC East Bowls. We both support AFC East teams. Pakistan against Forward Flyers. UR Gold against Tom's Torrance, which is the Winchester Bowl. The Dream Team against Bare Necessities. Ixan against Jet Great Scott. And Bucking the Trend against Bedernaders, which is the B Bowl. What way are we going for the marquee matchup this week, Chris? No, it's unfortunate because it's all the top and bottom teams of the division facing off against each other.
It's like this week. It's like the marquee's blown over, mate.
The weather has been pretty how Storm Kieran. That's the effect.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we get this week. We get the dregs of all scores.
I think it's got to be this one, hasn't it? We're just looking in terms of it's got to be a Portsmouth Division 1. Because this is the most competitive division at the moment.
I'd say so because whoever, they can get on equal footing. This is a big game for Ben. Okay, let's do it. Let's
you want that? Okay, yeah, here we go. Week 9.
I don't want it, but I'll take it.
Chris is in a great mood today.
Honestly, I've come into this when we do this on Fridays. You can either come in like, oh no, but I've come into this with an absolute I don't really care attitude today. And I'm loving it. I'm throwing caution to the wind. It's Friday. I'm going to enjoy myself. And part of my enjoyment is coming to speak to you for an hour and a half.
Exactly.
About this league, which 30 people might care about, but there are some people out there, and I don't know who you are, but you listen to us some weeks and you think to yourself, do you know what? These guys, they're entertaining. Well, let's keep on going because
Definitely, yeah. And here we go, the marquee matchup. Ixan take on Great Scott in the Week 9 marquee matchup. Great Scott, the league's current number 1 seed, leading up the Ports division with the 6-2 record, facing up against Ixan at 4-4. They need a win to stay in the playoff race, as you just heard from Chris, to avoid the dreaded fork. Projections at the moment, so they're going to get it 87 to 51. But Jeff will definitely be making some changes to his team as he currently has a player on bye and an empty spot. So we'll see what we'll factor that into our preview, of course. We're looking at Ben's team roster-wise. Obviously, Mahomes in the starting lineup. Jacoby Myers is currently in there as well, and Jahan Dotson straight from the waiver wire. The reason being, Ben is in Bipocalypse with 3 players on a bye at the moment. Mattison's gone to the bench. Christian Watson also on the bench as well. So he is going with the 20 personnel at the moment. 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers. On the other side of the board for Great Scott, Matthew Stafford is in the lineup at the moment for Trevor Lawrence is on a bye. We'll come back to that one in a bit though. And then roster-wise, he's only got 4 skill positions on the field at the moment. So flag for 10 men on the offense. But presumably he'll put in one of Chuba. Well, yeah, I think it'll be Chuba Hubbard actually. So let's say he puts in Chuba Hubbard and he'll find a kicker because currently McManus is on a bye probably. He's going with the lesser spotted the 30 personnel with 1 less receiver on the field, as you do. The history of this matchup, have these two already played each other? I think they probably have. Yep, they did, and Jeff took the first one of the series there as well. Chris, over to you. What do you make of what are you going to pick for the marquee matchup where we have an incomplete team?
Indeed, that's right. I think incomplete team, and I'm unfortunate. I hate to break it to you, but he can't play Chuba Hubbard because he's already got 3 running backs.
He has, so he doesn't have another option on the bench.
He does not.
No, that's a good point.
He's have to drop one of his prized possessions. Please drop Ty J Spears because you don't need him. I do. So let's go. First of all let's delve into the players on the waiver wire. Let's see what fun you can collect on the waiver wire at the moment.
I can tell you what we can't get: Taysom Hill. You can't get Taysom Hill. Demario Douglas is probably the highest scoring receiver / tight end. Yep, projected on the free agency.
That is a sad state of affairs.
Now you know why I had to Taysom Hill and for that.
That is a sad state of affairs. There is a Dallas Goedert in there. There's a Logan Thomas in there. There's a Tyler Boyd in there. Yeah. Wild Tyler Boyd's out there.
Yeah, there's some options there. Hunter Henry.
Anyway, there's not a lot of options there.
No.
Anyway, so let's get to it then, shall we? Matthew Stafford, if he plays, it's going to be an extremely interesting way of doing things because he's going to be throwing with 4 fingers and no thumb. Jamar Chase is playing Buffalo's very leaky D. So congratulations to whoever's got the Cincinnati Bengals, any sort of their receivers, because that's going to be fun. And then you've got Rostert, Foreman, and White. Well, look at these guys. Mostert playing in what's going to be a track meet. It's going there. Miami versus KC. It's going to be huge. So expect some big points. Formerly against New Orleans in New Orleans, playing but part of the Chicago Bears. I'm not very convinced on that at all, Nathan Stubbs. and yeah, Rashad White against Houston. Well, you know. If you're talking about average, then I'm not so sure about it. Seahawks D at Baltimore as well. Weird place to go. Weird cross country thing. Playing Baltimore in Baltimore. You know, I'm not so hot on the Seahawks away, but you know, strange things have happened. But overall, that team is banged up, average, and it's going to have to rely on Chasing Mostert for points.
Yeah.
Going to go in there now. Brandon McManus can't kick him to 16 points this week.
No, you cannot.
On the other side, Ben is pretty healthy, despite the fact that he is playing somewhat of a reserve team. But I'd say Mahomes in that matchup is excellent. I'd say that Evans in that matchup is pretty good.
Yep.
Are the Shackles going to come off the Raiders this week and they're just going to throw caution to the wind and go, you know what, fuck it, this has been the worst season imaginable, let's just keep throwing.
AOC was pretty, he turned it over and fumbled and stuff in his first start, but he actually got Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams going a bit, so...
There you got him going. So there's hope for Jacoby Myers yet, but not a lot of it. Aaron Jones is, he's still feeling the effects of that hamstring injury. Yeah. Eckler, I think, will be okay, be a focal point, but they're playing the Jets in the Meadowlands. And one thing that Jets we know is good at is on defense. So
not the run defense though. Run defense is a bit more soft, but
yeah. I guess Eckler's a dual threat.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't write him off. And Jahan Dotson, we saw him come to his own last week, but I've been burned by Sam.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that.
I wouldn't bet on that this week.
I think Kurt Samuel is missing the game again, for what it's worth. But yeah, there's still other things like Thomas and McLaurin, obviously, and bizarrely Jamison Crowder. I've got Jamison Crowder for some reason in a dynasty league because some of my teams are absolute god awful. He even did well last week. Yeah,
that hang around.
Yeah.
So yeah. He's making them work, but yeah, it's definitely a dice throw. But I hope the $17 that he spent on him is rewarded. And then grouping the Saints D. Well, Saints D could beat up. I think that's for sure. And kicking in a dome this time of the year is none too bad either. So especially with a pretty rancid offense occasionally that New Orleans has, but they have looked better recently. So I'm going with Ben. I think just because. He has 3 players that can actually make the difference rather than just the 2. He also has a full team, and Jeff does not have a full team. Yeah. And whoever Jeff ends up playing is going to be absolutely bang average. And especially if Matt Stafford is not fit either, that could be a bit of a fun one. So yeah, I think one Ixan for the win on this one. And pulling Great Scott back in a little bit in that division, but will it really be worth it? Probably not in the end, because Viv's team is significantly better than both.
Viv's team is pretty good, to be fair. Yeah, no, just been able to good wrong, but I agree. I'm going to lock up Ixan here in the marquee matchup just for some extra spice against the team that's won 5 games on the trot. For Ixan, not especially special themselves this season, but like you said, he's catching Great Scott, I think, on a good week. Matthew Stafford is a game-time decision with his thumb injury, and the other, I had a scan out there just because I wasn't too thrilled with Josh Allen this week against Cincinnati, and previously he's not done too good against Cincinnati. So I was like, I'll see what else is out there in terms of free agent quarterbacks. It's not a pretty sight, ladies and gentlemen. So if Matt Stafford can't go, and I don't think he's even an especially good option, certainly not with a bum thumb, this could be an easy win here for Ben, one that he could solely do with as well to stay alive in the playoff race. We'll go on to the next game now then. Bedetina's take on bucking the trend in the B-Bowl here. Fresh off of Mike's first win of the season, he's projected to go straight back to losing. With Bedetina's projected to win this one 96-83. We do have some points on the board, 15 to 6.5 as well. Let's start off on Mike's side of the ball. DeAndre Hopkins got 6.5 points in Thursday Night Football. In terms of the lineup, it's probably the strongest team he's been able to field in a while. He's just sent Kedge Osborne to the bench for DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think there's any changes beyond that this week for him, so he is going with the 20 personnel, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers. On the other side of the board for the Detonators, let's see here. He may be unchanged since last week, so he is currently rocking with 20 personnel, 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers, 15 points courtesy of Deontay Johnson. History of this matchup all time, Bedenators are 3-4 all time against bucking the trend. Will Mike go straight back to losing? Here's my question to you, Chris.
No,
Ooh.
not necessarily.
Juicy.
Not necessarily. And here's why: is that I just think that this week does kind of help him a little bit. I mean, I know Hopkins has played and has gone for 6.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
And, hasn't hit the heights that we saw last week. But Tua's in the plus matchup. I know he's away from home, but it's going to be fun. Devontae Smith's playing Hurts on the side, which sort of negates that a little bit, especially if he's thrown to. Godwin looked better last week. Barkley looks like he's up and running, playing Las Vegas, who they could be a bit all over the place. Jacobs playing the Giants again.
Just traded Leonard Williams away as well. The
You want to see it?
Yep.
And then Eagles playing Dallas, and look, Eagles hasn't been great this season, but then again, Dallas's offense has picked itself up a little bit, but its defense is where it's strongest. And Dak's gone for 4 touchdowns last week, but he has looked not great in some games. And they're playing at home; it's a difficult place to be. So, I don't know what's on the other side. Yeah, Hurts and Adams is great. Deontay Johnson, hilariously, I think there was the stat, wasn't it? You put out was he hasn't been throwing a touchdown since Ben Roethlisberger retired, which is ridiculous. Anyway, picked a good time to do it.
He did.
And then, Henderson and Swift. Well, Henderson's been used, but again, will they be in that game? Probably. And will they want to use him a lot? Yeah, I think so. Nico Collins has taken a bit of a tumble in the last few weeks.
He has, but the Bucks are a pass funnel defense. Not one you want to run on.
You've got to love it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Browns versus Arizona there. Without Josh Dobbs, who has been a pretty good fill-in, playing some rando.
Well, it could be Murray. It could be Murray, but if not, it's Clayton Tune. It's Clayton Tune otherwise.
If it is, but yeah. So I think it's going to be a tighter game than we think. Do I like the detonators more? Do I like the names more? Yeah, sure. Do I like the names on Bucking the Trend? Sure, but I don't know.
It's a tricky one. I agree with you. It's a hard one to call.
I really like Tua, Barkley, and Jacobs in this, and I don't know. It's tight with detonators, I think, but it helps to have a 15-point player on score already.
Yeah.
You can't go against form, Nath. So detonators it is.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's a really tough one to call, but yeah, I think you lean on the side that has the points at the moment because both those players were kind of more the ancillary players of the teams as well. Ollie gets the boost of having a decent score from one of those. He could well bring in Jerome Ford playing Arizona as well over potentially Darrell Henderson or something like that as well, or Nico Collins. I think that would probably bolster him a little bit more. But like you say, Tua, Barkley, Jacobs, Godwin could even have some success. Who knows, Smith might turn up this week. Yeah, it's definitely a harder one to call than it appears on paper. But then it is for me as well. Injury-wise, both these teams I think have a clean bill of health in the starting lineup. I didn't cover off the last one. I think it was just Matthew Stafford and his thumb being a game-time decision, though. Yeah, it was. So nothing else there. Aaron Jones questionable, like you said, with the hamstring, but I'm pretty sure he'll play. We'll go on to the next game then, which is the other Winchester Division game. Gridiron Gang take on Thomas and Friends, Ross's team, fresh off of taking the lead in the division. Gridiron Gang will very much be looking to try and keep hold of it. 5-3, meanwhile, Ross's team at 2-6. It's pretty dismal at the moment, but you never know, get a win here. But then they lose as well. They're only 2 games back in the division. Then, what can you say? Projections-wise, Ross's team is actually projected to win this one, 89-85. Let's take a look at the lineups for Gridiron Gang. Let's see here. So Kareem Hunt and Tank Dale, I think, was already in the lineup. Yeah, so it's just Kareem Hunt that comes into the lineup. in favour of Christian McCaffrey, who was on a bye this week. So Gridiron Gang going with 20 personnel, 2 running backs, 2 receivers on the other side of the board for Ross's team. I think T. Higgins comes into the lineup for George Kittle, who's gone on to a bye. Beyond that, he's not changed either, so he's going with the 21 personnel, 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and 2 wide receivers. The history of this matchup all time: Gridiron Gang are 7-7 against Ross's team, so the series is tied all time. Yeah, I think this might be a little bit of a trap week this week for my team, Chris, because I've got McCaffrey on a bye. Montgomery was obviously a bit injured, but also on a bye. But Ross is pretty much full strength outside of George Kittle.
Indeed. And you know what? Ross has got some players you gotta like in there.
Yep.
You gotta like Diggs, you gotta like Higgins, you gotta like Kelsey in that matchup. Andrew's probably all right there as well. Jonathan Taylor, not terrible. Patriots D, gonna get some sacks. So yeah, he scored 99 points last week as well. You can't lie on that. And if Christian McCaffrey scored 23, and that takes you down to 99 points. So that's pretty close. I don't know. I said it for me. I think Kareem Hunt's an interesting one for me because he's going to get used clearly in that with that quarterbackless team.
Deshaun Watson's going to be back by the sounds of it, but yeah, that still probably doesn't change your statement. To be
as I say, quarterbackless team.
He's been the goal line back too. It's been a bit of a timeshare, but he's been the goal line guy. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. It improves Cooper a little bit. Waddle, obviously, I'm going to keep saying this is going to be an absolute track meet against KC, but who very well knows. I hope it is. I hope it's one to entertain the European fans there.
Yeah.
Because that's some matchup. Pacheco, same matchup. Josh Allen, you'd like to think that he's going to be able to turn it on in prime time once more. Chargers against the Jets could be hilarious. Look, you're right. I think it could be a little bit closer without McCaffrey in there. Obviously, it's less of a certainty, but there's still enough players in there that I would trust to get you across the line. Ross is going to be it's dangerous opposition, but I think, say last week we saw a big score because of the quarterback, and Dak won't score as many as that against Philly in Philly. So I'm going to go with you, mate. And
thank you.
And yeah, just got to hope those tight ends stay at the end zone.
Indeed, yeah, yeah. I'm going to go with Ross's team. I ever since the start of the week, I agree it's a close one. No. I agree it's a close one, but I don't know. I just. Not as much confidence in my team this week. I could see this being a classic Ross week.
You're the highest scoring team in the league.
I am. I know.
Your coach score is the best.
Yeah, I've been maximising exactly. The pressure is on to get it right every single week to get.
It's yours to lose.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
It's yours to lose.
Don't be saying that. Like I said, I haven't got McCaffrey this week. I mean, the fact that I'm considering Taysom Hill, Devin Singletary, or Tank Dell for my fitness
Devin Singletary, man, he's going to be all right.
It's a pretty brutal matchup, but I could end up going the safer option and as opposed to maybe one of the more upset options. We'll see. I may well do that. But yeah, like you said, Ross's team I think is a bit more solid. He's got Jonathan Taylor, who seems to be on fine form. The tight ends, he's got a solid Stephon Diggs with Josh Allen. Part of me thinks Josh Allen has struggled against Cincinnati the last couple of times he's played them. Like you said, it's under the lights and everything, so who knows? And he's dealing with a little bit of a shoulder thing here and there. So I don't know. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. Don't get me wrong. If my team to win this, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, what a shock, But I could just see a good team from Ross's team. Thank you. I could see a good week from Ross's team, and then maybe a slightly subpar team from a week from my team there. If only I got 80+ points against Pat, and my streak would still be alive. It's gonna be my Hall of Fame nomination this year because I have the longest 80+ point streak since 2014 and 2015 when we had a whole less position. But anyway, I digress. So.
All I can say is that you should put it as a Hall of Fame nomination only if you get to the playoffs, and maybe only if you win.
To be fair, I got to the playoffs last year with the streak. So.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, I could maybe bolster onto it that I got 77 this week, but all the rest of them, if I continue through 80+. So
perhaps you should win. I think that'd be a good thing.
I would like to win.
I think it's a long time
It
coming.
is,
You know?
yeah. I thought it was going to be last year, but there we go. Ben stole it from me. So. we'll go. We'll go on to our next game now. Oh dear. Pakistan take on Forge Flyers. Freshly forked Forge Flyers are 2-6, looking to upset the apple cart against 6-2 Pakistan, who had a bit of a wobble last week and obviously have had low points conceded against. So there are some vulnerabilities there. And the projections do say Forge Flyers Chris is going to get a win here at 86 to 84, with 16 points on the board already from Derrick Henry as well. Dalton Schultz is in the lineup for Forge Flyers. Tyler Lockett comes in, and Michael Thomas back on the squad and into the team as well, sending all of Calvin Ridley, Miles Sanders and Brandon Ike. No, not Calvin Ridley. Miles Sanders, Brandon Ike and Damian Pierce to the bench. Is that right? Have I got that right, Chris?
Miles Sanders, they're all going.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So you've got 21 personnel, 2 running backs, a tight end and 2 wide receivers. On the other side of the board for Pakistan, CJ Stroud comes into the starting lineup for Jared Goff, who's on a bye. And Zach Moss comes in as well in favour of Zay Flowers. So Pat is going with the 30 personnel, 3 running backs and 2 wide receivers. The history of this matchup all time, Forge Flyers, you are 3-7 against Pat all time. Yeah. And as you've said before, Pat is a bogey team of yours. But is this the week you get him? Yeah, yes, you're going to get him this week, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to get him this week. No, am I fuck? There is next to no chance that I'm winning this game. My quarterback's going to go down with a horrible injury in the first quarter. It's either going to happen or he's going to score less than 10 points. My receivers are going to score less than 10 points. Derrick Henry's going to be the only shining light in this offense, and the Cowboys D might make it an entertaining game. Might, but it's not going to happen. So let's be quite frank here. 16 points from Derrick Henry is the only sliver of optimism that I'm going to get this week, because everything else is going to be an abortion.
I thought that was going to end in you locking against yourself for a second.
Absolutely right. So no, I'm not going to lock against myself. I should do, because if I was objectively looking at this as not the team owner, I'd go, well, what is that team? Like, what are you doing? Anyway, I'm onto my third quarterback. I'm into my fourth next week because Kyler will be in there. I'll be onto my fifth the week after that. So you watch.
Is everything okay, Chris?
Yeah, everything's great. I'm inventing for 3 weeks. We have had no podcast for 3 weeks.
It's true.
Shit.
It's true. Yeah, you've had to keep it.
It's all coming out now. I'd have done it over a period of time where I've done this week, gone, oh, it's going to get better. And then come week 3, I've gone, oh no, this is ridiculous. But I'm reveling in it. I'm reveling in the fact that it's awful. And that every week I go look at the fantasy lineup at 6 o'clock on a Sunday and go, nah. Am I losing yet? Yeah, that's it. Right, let's do some proper analysis, because that really was pretty half-assed. Because Pat's going to want some proper analysis from his team. Look, CJ Stroud, as you said, it's a good matchup.
Pass funnel, yep.
DJ Moore's going to get erased by Marshawn Lattimore,
He is.
so good luck with that.
Yep.
And to be fair, Chicago going to get erased by the Saints anyway, away from home. Olave and Kamara's been great, let's be honest. He's been a focal point for that team. That's not going to stop. Zach Moss is a bit of a weird one because he's now in a timeshare with Jonathan Taylor and Kenneth Walker has to turn it back on again after last week. But he's got all the talent. But Baltimore's front, I know you don't like them, but they are.
No. I'm turned. I'm convinced that they've definitely improved. I think on defense.
Definitely there.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's a tougher of the matchups there.
Yeah.
Ravens D playing Seattle, so I would expect Geno to be a little bit worse on the road, especially at that sort of length. But look, I can't back my team. My team is an absolute disaster. Pat is. I know he's got a few bye weeks here and there, but there's enough in there that I like that. Can get him across the line. For me, I'm going to have to have some streaky plays, proper streaky to get there, and hope that Sam Howell actually scores some points.
He could.
Which would be a result.
Yep.
So, Pat's team it is for me.
No, I think you're right. You typically, if you go down a lineup and you just do it a 1-1 matchup and you pick the side you like, I think I hate to say it, Chris. I think other than Derek Henry against Kamara, which has obviously already happened for Henry's side, I think you go down that and you probably pick Pat's side of each head-to-head there.
Right, you do.
On every play. So on that basis, it's Pat for me as well. Injury-wise, Lockett's still dealing with a bit of a hamstring issue, but he will play through it. Damian Pierce will not play with his ankle injury. He has not practiced all week. Josh Downs, he's questionable as well. I'm not sure with, but I think he should be good to go for the game. And I don't think there are any injuries of note in the previous game as well. So we'll just mosey on past that. So we'll go on to the penultimate game of the week now. Finishing off with the other Southampton division game, we have You Are Gold currently tied lead for the division against Tom's Tyrants, another team looking to keep up at 3 and 5. Projections, however, do say You Are Gold, the King, is going to win again at 86 to 76. Points are already on the board this one as well, 8 points for Tom's Tyrants. Looking down the lineups for You Are Gold, Derek Carr comes in for Brock Purdy, who's on a bye for You Are Gold. In the rest of the lineup, I think Tutu Atwell comes in for Rashid Shaheed, and that's Scott. Yeah, and that's the only change there. So, what's that? Spread personnel, 10 personnel, 1 running back, 4 receivers there for You Are Gold. On the other side of the board for Tom's Tyrants, let's see here. I don't think he is changed this week yet, but he has Drake London, who's already been ruled out, so he will bring in one of Garrett Wilson, Brian Robinson or Amari Demercado. Inconclusive what his lineup will be at the moment, but will either be 10 personnel or 20 personnel. History of this matchup all time. Let's see here. Tom's Tyrants are it's a 6-6 series, so whoever wins this takes the lead in the series. But it's probably going to be You Are Gold, do you think? Chris, I mean, Tom's probably going to put Burrow. Tom likes to leave his changes till the weekend. He's probably going to put Burrow back in. He's got 8 points from the Steelers as well. I forgot to add.
Burrow and Garrett Wilson back in, and it's surely
probably.
Before I do the analysis here, can I have the music for You Are Gold?
Of course you can. Yeah, here it is.
So I can speak over it while we have There it is. Right then, You Are Gold. Derek Carr comes back in. Quite why, I do not know, but he is there. He is there, and he's good. If this is the week where Derek Carr turns up, it's probably going to be it. Then you've got the plethora of receivers: Brown, Metcalf, Jordan Addison. I mean, tough as you like. All 3 matchups are pretty tough. Tutu Atwell, as we know, I am not a fan of Tutu Atwell. He's probably a nice bloke, but I don't think that he's much of a player. And Tony Pollard against the Philadelphia Eagles is not going to go anywhere. So there you are. And the Colts D against Carolina. Well, I think they might do all right actually in that.
Maybe.
Bryce Young hasn't, but there you are. On the other side, if Burrow plays, then Tom's got a much better lineup, and I can't really bet against Kupp and Allen, to be fair. That's good. Adam Thielen's been pretty decent. As we said, Cook's not been brilliant. But this is going to be one of those low-scoring games where You Are Gold's going to curse a spell on all players on the other side, and could end up winning by some ridiculous score like 75 to 72 and take the win. I do like Tom's team better, and I'm going to go for Tom's team on the basis of that.
Okay.
Even though I do like the trifecta of receivers on the other side, I do think that they are in all 3 of them. Apart from Atlanta is tough matchups. Pollard's in a tough matchup. Whilst the other side is a little bit softer, I think, and has the potential to be a little bit better. But at the same time, I don't love it. Joe Burrow against Buffalo might be the thing that pushes them across the line. And it's going to be a pretty ugly game. Yeah, no, I agree. I think actually on balance, I think you're probably right. Tom Torrance, I'm going to pick to win as well. But yeah, You Are God's probably going to use his magic and do what he does to completely suppress Tom's score. Because Burrow should be in. Kupp, it depends. If Stafford plays and he's fine, Kupp will be fine. But if it's Brett Rippin, who knows? But like you said, Keenan Allen, he raised by Sauce Gardner. It's a tough one again. But Thielen's got a really nice matchup there. So, I don't know. It's not great for Tom's Tyrants. But like you say, it's not necessarily great for Your Gold either. Because DK Metcalf and Pollard have a bad matchup. Tutu Atwell, can I just say, my message to him to play Tutu Atwell that week and him got a touchdown was one of the highlights of my week.
I haven't. Each
Jim of the year material there for someone else.
Exactly. Each season, I seem to latch onto these rando players, and that they seem to come through. So to Atwell is.
Play Taysom Hill this week. Just do it.
I might have to. Yeah, I might have to.
Please do.
I just want.
Do it.
Yeah.
If you do it, he scores 20 points and you win. You're going to have the biggest set of GM bollocks. Honestly, this side of the Solent. I want to see it.
I may well do it. I really want to play Taysom Hill. I love. I had him that year when he was the quarterback because Jameis got injured, if you recall, and then Andy Dalton I think did as well, and it was great. And even before, I love Taysom Hill. He's everyone's favourite fantasy troll. It's great.
He is.
Yeah.
He may even. He can do it all. Derek Carr might go down again.
Yeah.
It might happen.
You never know.
And then you'll be the hero.
Back to this game though, it's a tough one to call. But I'm going to go with Tom Stearns as well. Injury-wise, Metcalf, he's definitely one to check because he practiced in full on Wednesday, didn't practice yesterday with a hip injury. So, definitely want to check. Justin Fields did practice today on a limited basis, but he's not going to be back this week. As I said, Drake London has already been ruled out. So we will go to the last game of the week then, which rounds off the Portsmouth division. The Dream Team takes on Ben Necessities here. Dream Team looking to keep up in the Portsmouth division and in the playoff race. Ben Necessities fighting to stay alive on a 4-game losing streak after a positive 3-1 start. It's all gone the wrong way. That's what happens when you don't change your team. Dream Team are projected to win this one 95-90. Taking a look at the lineup for the Dream Team. Gabe Davis, he's free. He's been released from the cage.
Justice for Gabe.
He comes to the lineup purely because Travis Etienne is on a bye, but we'll take it. So Viv is going with the 10 personnel this week. 1 running back, 4 wide receivers. On the other side of the board for Ben Necessities, my dad has changed his team. So he has brought in Gus Edwards and Joe Mixon. Funnily enough, you do bring in your second round pick player. There you go. He's sending Elijah Mitchell and Marquise Brown, I think, to the bench. So he is going with the 31 personnel this week. 3 running backs, a tight end, and a wide receiver. The history of this matchup all time, Ben Necessities are 12-9 against the Dream Team. Will my dad stay alive, or is the fork coming for him, Chris?
It's certainly looming, Nath. It's certainly looming. Though I don't hate the running back room there. I'm not going to lie. The Mixon, Edwards and Robinson combo is pretty strong. Nakua and Hawkinson all right. Lamar's been a bit up and down. I'm not going to lie. He's probably a bit better at home, but he's very up and down. The Bills dig in Cincinnati. I do not like away from home. Do not like that.
No, the Bills do sucks now as well. So they got Rasul Douglas at the trade deadline, and they signed Linval Joseph. But for this week, it's probably not going to make an impact.
You heard it here first. They're not going to score very well. I don't know. I think with Viv's team is on a roll clearly, and you look down there and there's class everywhere. Herbert's class. Yes, he's playing the Jets, and yes, that can be tough, but it's prime time. Justin Herbert's class as well. Tyreek playing that track meet. CeeDee Lamb's been a funnel recently. McLaurin against New England's a pretty decent option. Gabe Davis, justice for him. He's been coming out of the traps recently with double-digit scores. Breece Hall's been fantastic. Raiders dig against the Giants. You couldn't be a better time if you're the Raiders. The Raiders are going to be angry. They want to go at these guys because the Giants suck as much as they do. I like it. I mean, the thing with a guy like Gus Edwards is he's very up and down on the other side. Bijan's great, but he's just in a bit of a stagnant offense. Sadly, they need a couple more.
And reported injury headaches as well.
Yeah, Mixon. Questionable, probably will play.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
But again, against the sucky D, could work well. Puka's all right. I don't know. For me, it's all about the quarterbacks here. I think if Herbert turns up with the rest of those skill positions, Viv's going to have no dramas. But if Lamar goes off and a couple of running backs do well, and I don't know, I get a much warm, fuzzy feeling about the Dream Team. That's why I'm going to do them, and I'm going to lock them because it's the last game. Again, you can't go wrong with form, and the Dream Team seem to have the form at the moment.
there's your jingle. There you go. Yeah, no, the Dream Team have been very good. I am going to pick Bare Necessities on this one. 4-game slide. It is a better team than what it has been. And obviously,
Sure.
you know, when you don't change your team, that does kind of happen. But like you said, the running back room this week does look fairly good. If Stafford plays Puka, will be good as well. If not, maybe who knows. And if Lamar obviously has a day, he'll have a day. For Viv's team, it's flashy players, it's streaky players, which obviously when it hits, it lights up the box score like it did last week. But you kind of touch it. Herbert going cross country, playing against the Jets in the Meadowlands. Jets have made that stadium a bit of a fortress. He could absolutely do well. He might not. We don't know what we're going to get from the Germany game. Like you say, you hope it's a track meet, but we'll see. And then CD, he had that boom week last week, but he's been a bit inconsistent as well. Like you say, he's definitely the top option in that pass offense. But you don't know what you're going to get. McLaurin as well with Sam Howell is the same thing. You never know what you're going to get from the Commanders. And then Davis should be solid, I think. And then Breece Hall, again, he's a guy that, I mean, last week, that 50-yard touchdown basically saved his day. He needs to break those big plays because he is the offense. And the problem is, obviously, the other team defenses know that. And they're going to do everything they can to take him away and just try and let Zach Wilson make a mistake or not really do anything. Again, the Raiders D, I always have a problem in fantasy with playing bad defenses in good matchups because anything can happen. And outside of Max Crosby, that Raiders defense sucks. And the Giants are getting Daniel Jones back this week for whatever that's worth. Saquon's obviously there.
Too.
He does suck, but they've got Saquon as well. So yeah, I don't know. Now Viv could absolutely win this game. I wouldn't bat an eyelid if he did not completely understand the lock. But I don't know. There just seems to be. It's a case of flashy boom or bust players for me against what's probably, would you fair to say, a bit more safe but unspectacular in my dad's team. I think
There's some chuggers in there.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking
There's
at
some
here.
chuggers in
Like
there. I don't know. If I'm a gambling man, I'm gambling against the Flash. You know, I'm gambling for the Flash.
Yeah.
The Flash can create a spark.
Oh,
whilst, you know.
Yeah, and it only takes one or two Flash guys to go off, and that's usually enough. Whereas, like you say, with those chugging teams, you typically need all of them to pull their part. Otherwise, if one of them fails, it lets the whole side down. But no, I am just going to go slightly with my dad's team this week. But yeah, I would not be surprised at all to see if they've won it. That brings us to the end of the show, though. So yeah, good to be back. Apologies for the few-week absence again. More so to Chris, because clearly he's built up some untapped rage that he's not been able to release. So I apologise profusely for that. But no, thank you for joining again, as always, Chris.
You're welcome. I'm feeling a lot more calm now.
Good, I'm glad, just as well, because we don't want you taking it out on Waypoint tomorrow. More on Waypoint in a second, though. But yeah, thanks for watching, listening. Have a nice weekend. Best of luck in your matchups, unless you're playing me, of course. Goodbye, everybody.